I found my wife's work emergency was actually her affair partner's apartment. So I hired a PI, documented everything, and served her divorce papers at her lover's wife's birthday party. My wife's car was parked outside an apartment building she'd never mentioned, at 9 p.m. on a Saturday, while she was supposedly handling a work emergency at the office. I sat in my car 2 rows away, hands shaking, trying to understand why the woman I'd been married to for 7 years would lie about where she was. Hey Reddit, this is the story of how I discovered my wife's dedication to her career was actually dedication to her affair partner, and how one lie led me to uncover 6 months of betrayal. I'm Daniel, 33 years old, and what I'm about to tell you will make you question whether you really know the person sleeping next to you every night. You know that moment when your reality fractures? When the person you trust most reveals themselves to be a stranger. That's where this story goes. But let me start from the beginning, because to understand how completely Lauren deceived me, you need to understand what we had and how skillfully she hid what she was doing. I met Lauren 8 years ago. When I was 25 and she was 23, I was working as a junior data analyst at a tech company in Seattle, making about $62,000. Lauren had just graduated with a marketing degree and started at a mid-size advertising agency making $45,000. We met at a friend's housewarming party, connected immediately over shared interests in hiking and craft beer, started dating within a week. Lauren was ambitious, driven, charismatic. She talked constantly about her career goals, wanting to become a marketing director, to lead major campaigns, to make a name for herself in the industry. I found her passion attractive. She wasn't someone who'd be content with mediocrity. She wanted to build something, achieve something, matter. We dated for 2 years before I proposed. By then, I'd been promoted to data analyst making $75,000. Lauren had moved to a better agency and was making $58,000 as a senior marketing associate. Combined income of $133,000, comfortable for Seattle, enough to think about marriage and a future. Our wedding was modest but nice. 80 people. $25,000 total that we split evenly. Lauren insisted on contributing her half. I'm not the kind of woman who expects her husband to pay for everything, she'd said. We're partners, equal partners. That partnership language felt important to her. She'd grown up with a mother who'd been financially dependent on her father and deeply unhappy. Lauren was determined to never be in that position, to always have her own career, her own income, her own identity separate from being someone's wife. I respected that, admired it even. The idea of a wife who was driven and independent seemed ideal. The first 5 years of marriage were good. We both advanced in our careers. I became a senior data analyst making $88,000. Lauren became a marketing manager making $78,000. We bought a small house in a decent neighborhood. Traveled occasionally. Had a circle of couple friends. Did the things married people do. But Lauren's job was demanding. Marketing agencies are notorious for long hours, client demands that extend beyond business hours, campaigns that require weekend work. Lauren would often stay late at the office, sometimes until 9 or 10 p.m. Would occasionally go in on weekends when a client needed something urgently. Would be on her phone during dinner, responding to work messages. It's the industry, she'd explain when I'd comment on how much she was working. If you want to advance, you have to be available. You have to show you're committed. Marketing isn't a 9-to-5 job, I understood. My job was more predictable. Regular hours, clear boundaries between work and home. But I knew different industries operated differently. Lauren's dedication to her career was part of who she was. I didn't want to be the husband who resented his wife's ambition. About 18 months ago, Lauren got promoted to marketing director. Her salary jumped to $95,000, more than I was making. She was thrilled. This was what she'd been working toward for years. Leadership position. Team reporting to her. Major clients under her purview. Real authority and responsibility. I'm so proud of you, I told her at the celebratory dinner. You've worked incredibly hard for this. Thank you for supporting me, she said. I know my hours have been crazy. I know I'm not always present, but this promotion makes it all worth it. And now that I'm director, I'll actually have more control over my schedule. It should get better. It didn't get better. It got worse. The late nights increased. The weekend emergencies became more frequent. Lauren would get calls at 8 p.m. on a Friday. Crisis with the Henderson campaign, I need to go handle it. Or texts on Sunday morning, client needs presentation revisions before Monday meeting. I'll be at the office for a few hours. She was also traveling more. Marketing conferences, client site visits, team offsites. 1 or 2 nights away every couple of weeks, and she was on her phone constantly. During dinner, while watching TV, first thing in the morning. Always typing, always scrolling. She's engaged with whatever work crisis demanded her attention. Is everything okay? I'd ask. You seem stressed. Just work. You know how it is. Director-level responsibilities mean director-level problems. About 6 months ago, I started noticing other changes. Subtle ones that individually seemed insignificant, but collectively felt concerning. Lauren started working out more. Had always been fit, but now she was going to the gym 5 times a week. Very focused on her appearance. Started buying nicer clothes. Professional but also fashionable. Expensive. Got her hair done more frequently. Was more meticulous about makeup. Big client presentations, she'd explain. I need to look polished. First impressions matter in my industry. Made sense. Marketing is a visual industry. Appearance matters for client-facing roles. She was also going out more with work friends. Happy hours that would go until 9 or 10 p.m. Dinners with clients that she'd mention casually. "I'll be late, don't wait up," became a regular text message. Our intimacy decreased. We'd gone from having sex 2-3 times a week to maybe once every 2 weeks. When I'd initiate, she'd often say she was too tired from work, too stressed, not in the mood. "Is everything okay with us?" I asked one evening after she'd declined intimacy for the 3rd time in a row. "Everything's fine. I'm just exhausted. Work has been overwhelming." "It's not about you. Maybe we could plan a vacation? Get away from work, reconnect?" "I can't take time off right now. We're in the middle of 3 major campaigns. Maybe in a few months." 4 months ago, Lauren started mentioning a colleague named David more frequently. "David had this great idea for the campaign," or "David and I were brainstorming strategies," or "David suggested we grab lunch to discuss the client presentation." David was apparently another marketing director at her agency. Similar level, different clients, but they collaborated frequently. From Lauren's descriptions, he was creative, strategic, good at managing difficult clients. "He sounds like a good teammate," I'd say. "He is. It's nice having someone at my level to strategize with. Most of my team is junior. David gets the big picture stuff. I didn't think much of it." Lauren worked with lots of people. She'd mentioned colleagues before. David was just another name in the rotation of work friends and collaborators. 3 months ago, Lauren started password protecting her phone. She'd never done that before. When I asked why, she said she'd gotten a security reminder from IT about protecting company information on personal devices. "Makes sense," I said. "Lots of confidential client stuff on there." But I noticed she'd angle her phone away from me when typing, would take calls in another room, would close her laptop if I walked into the room while she was working. "What are you working on?" I'd ask. "Just client stuff. Boring marketing strategy. You wouldn't find it interesting." 2 months ago, Lauren started coming home later and later. Not just 8 or 9 p.m., but 10 or 11 p.m., multiple times a week. "What's keeping you so late?" I'd ask. "Campaign launch prep. Client fires to put out." David and I are working through some complex issues with the Henderson account. David again. They seem to be working together a lot. "Do you want me to bring you dinner at the office? I could pick something up and drop it off." "No." She said it too quickly, too emphatically, then softened. "I mean, thank you. But we usually order in when we're working late. It's easy." 1 month ago, I suggested marriage counseling. Not because I thought she was cheating, that hadn't crossed my mind, but because I felt us drifting apart. We barely spent time together, barely talked beyond logistics, barely had any intimacy. We were roommates who happened to be married, not partners building a life together. "I think we should talk to someone, a therapist, about reconnecting." "Daniel, I don't have time for therapy right now. Work is consuming me. Once things calm down, we can look into it. But right now, I'm barely keeping my head above water with my job." "Your job shouldn't be consuming your entire life. It's temporary. This is a critical period. Once we get through these campaign launches, it'll ease up." But it never eased up. There was always another campaign, another client crisis, another emergency requiring Lauren's immediate attention. 3 weeks ago, Lauren mentioned that David's wife was planning a 35th birthday party. "It's a work thing, kind of. Several people from the agency are invited since Michelle, David's wife, knows a lot of us from company events. I should probably make an appearance. Do you want me to come?" It's not really a +1 situation. It's at their house, pretty casual. I'll just pop in for an hour, show my face, then come home. I didn't push it. If Lauren said it wasn't a +1 event, I trusted her judgment. 2 weeks ago, I noticed a charge on our joint credit card that seemed odd. A hotel downtown. $347, posted on a Wednesday. "Hey, there's a hotel charge on the card," I mentioned casually. "Did you have to put up a colleague or something?" Lauren barely looked up from her phone. "Oh yeah, the Henderson client flew in unexpectedly. We put him up for the night. I'll get reimbursed from the company." "Okay, just wanted to make sure you knew about it." "Yep, all accounted for." But something about her response felt off. Too quick, too dismissive. I checked our bank account. No reimbursement had been deposited. I told myself to give it time. Corporate reimbursements take a while. Last week, I came home early from work, left at 4 p.m. for a dentist appointment that ended up being quick. Lauren's car was in the garage, which was unusual for a weekday afternoon. I walked into the house, heard the shower running upstairs, went to the bedroom. Lauren's work clothes were scattered on the floor. Jacket, skirt, blouse. But there was also a men's dress shirt I didn't recognize. Navy blue, expensive-looking fabric, size large. I wear medium. My stomach dropped. I stood there staring at this shirt that definitely wasn't mine, trying to think of rational explanations. Did I buy a new shirt and forget? Was it from a dry cleaning mix-up? The shower stopped. Lauren came out in a towel, saw me, and startled. "You're home early." Dentist finished quick. "Whose shirt is that?" She glanced at the navy shirt. "Oh, that's..." David left it at the office after a presentation where he spilled coffee. I grabbed it to drop off at the dry cleaner for him. "Haven't gotten around to it yet." "Why is it in our bedroom?" "I brought it home in my bag. Must have fallen out when I was changing. I'll take care of it." The explanation made sense. Sort of. But something felt wrong. Why would she take responsibility for dry cleaning a colleague's shirt? Why was she showering at 4:30 p.m. on a weekday? "Why are you showering so early?" "I went to the gym over lunch. Didn't have time to shower there. Late meeting ran long. I got home and showered here." Again, plausible. But my gut told me something was off. That night, after Lauren fell asleep, I looked at the shirt more carefully. Expensive brand. Theory, 200+ dress shirts. Smelled like cologne. Not coffee stains visible anywhere. I told myself I was being paranoid. Told myself that suspicion was toxic to a marriage. Told myself to trust my wife. But the doubt had been planted. That brings us to yesterday. Saturday morning. Lauren was on her phone at breakfast typing rapidly. I looked over and saw she was texting someone saved as David W. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Just coordinating some campaign stuff for Monday. Henderson client wants revisions. On Saturday?" "Marketing never stops." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eye. Around 2 p.m., Lauren got a call. She stepped outside to take it. Came back 10 minutes later looking stressed. "Crisis with the Henderson account. I need to go to the office and sort this out. Might be a few hours? On Saturday afternoon?" "I know, I'm sorry. But this client generates $2 million annually for the agency. When they call, we jump. David's meeting me there to work through it." David again. Always David. They were always working together on this mysterious Henderson account that apparently needed constant crisis management. "Okay, I'll make dinner plans for us later. Maybe 7? That should work. I'll text you when I'm leaving the office." She kissed me quickly on the cheek, grabbed her bag, and left. I watched from the window as she drove away, noticing she'd changed clothes, put on nicer jeans, a flattering top, actually styled her hair. For working alone in the office on a Saturday? An hour later, I was cleaning the kitchen and found Lauren's laptop charger. She'd accidentally taken mine that morning. Our MacBooks looked identical. She'd need hers if she was working at the office for several hours. I decided to be the thoughtful husband. Drive to her office downtown, drop off her charger, maybe bring her a coffee. A small gesture to show I appreciated how hard she was working. I drove to the downtown high-rise where her agency occupied the 12th and 13th floors. Parked in the garage. Took the elevator up to 12. The office was dark. Completely dark. Closed for the weekend. I stood there confused. Maybe she was on the 13th floor? I took the stairs up. Also dark. The entire agency was closed. Nobody working on a Saturday. No lights. No people. No signs of the crisis Lauren was supposedly handling. My heart started racing. Where was she? She'd said she was going to the office. Why would she lie? I pulled out my phone. We shared locations on Find My iPhone. Had since we got married for safety purposes. If one of us was in an accident or missing, we could find each other. I opened the app. Lauren's location popped up on the map. She wasn't downtown. She was in the Capitol Hill neighborhood, about 15 minutes away, a residential area. I stood in that dark office hallway staring at my phone, as months of excuses and late nights and work emergencies suddenly took on a different meaning. My hands were shaking as I got back in my car. Plugged the Capitol Hill address into Google Maps. Started driving. The entire time, a voice in my head was saying there had to be an explanation. Maybe she'd said she was meeting a client at their home office. Maybe the Henderson people lived in Capitol Hill. Maybe there was a perfectly reasonable explanation. The address led to an upscale apartment complex. Modern building, expensive looking. I pulled into the visitor parking lot, and there was Lauren's car. Unmistakable. Same model, same color, same dent in the rear bumper from when she'd backed into a post 2 months ago. The license plate confirmed it. I sat in my car, 2 rows away from hers, trying to breathe, trying to think, trying to understand what was happening. She'd said she was going to the office to handle a work emergency, but she was at an apartment building she'd never mentioned. On a Saturday afternoon, after getting dressed up and styling her hair, I pulled out my phone, opened Find My iPhone again. Her location pin was inside the building. I checked the time, 3:47 p.m. She'd left home at 2:15, had been here for over an hour. I should have called her, should have texted, should have gone up to whatever apartment she was in and knocked on the door. But something stopped me. Some instinct that told me I needed to see this through. Needed to understand what was actually happening before confronting it. So I waited, sat in my car, watched the building entrance, and waited. 30 p.m., nothing. 40 p.m., nothing. 30 p.m., nothing. At 5:47 p.m., the building entrance doors opened, and Lauren walked out. She wasn't alone. She was with a man, tall, well-dressed, handsome, laughing at something he'd just said. He had his hand on the small of her back as they walked toward the parking lot. They stopped at her car. stood close together talking. Too close. The way couples stand when they're comfortable with each other. Intimate. Then he leaned in and kissed her. Not a quick friendly peck. A real kiss. Passionate. Her arms went around his neck. His hands on her waist. They kissed like people who'd been doing this for a while. Like people who knew each other's bodies. When they finally broke apart, he said something that made her laugh. She touched his face gently, affectionately, then got in her car. He stood watching as she drove away, smiling, looking satisfied. I sat frozen in my car, feeling like I'd been punched in the chest. Couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only replay what I'd just witnessed over and over. My wife of 7 years, kissing another man, outside an apartment building. After lying about working on a Saturday, the man, I recognized him from photos Lauren had shown me from work events. David. This was Dave, the colleague she mentioned constantly, the one she was always working late with, the one whose shirt had been in our bedroom last week. This was David, and he wasn't just a colleague, he was her affair partner. After David went back inside the building, I sat there for another 20 minutes, numb, trying to process what I'd seen, trying to understand how I'd missed this. How long had it been going on? How many work emergencies were actually visits to David's apartment? How many late nights and weekend trips were covers for her affair? 6 months of increasing distance. 6 months of declining intimacy. 6 months of her being on her phone constantly, working late, traveling, being unavailable. 6 months of David's ideas, David's strategies, David's collaboration. She'd been talking about him the entire time, not hiding the affair so much as hiding it in plain sight, making him seem like just another colleague when he was actually the person she was sleeping with while married to me. My phone buzzed. Text from Lauren. Just leaving the office. Traffic is bad. Probably won't be home until 7:30. Sorry. Rain check on dinner? I stared at that text. The casual lie. She just left David's apartment after hours of doing God knows what. And she was texting me about traffic and dinner like she'd actually been How many texts like this had she sent over the past 6 months? How many times had she lied directly to my face, to my phone, about where she was and what she was doing? I didn't respond, just drove home, got there before her, went inside, sat on the couch, stared at the wall. At 7:25, Lauren came home. Walked in looking slightly disheveled but trying to appear normal. Hey, sorry that took so long. Crisis was worse than we thought. David and I finally got it sorted, but man, what a mess. I'm exhausted. How was your day? I looked at her, the woman I'd married, the woman I'd trusted completely, standing in our living room, lying to my face. My day was fine, I heard myself say. Did you get everything handled with the client? Yeah, finally. Henderson can be so demanding. But David was really helpful. We make a good team, I bet you do. She didn't catch the tone. Or maybe she did and chose to ignore it. She kicked off her shoes, grabbed a glass of wine, curled up on the other end of the couch. What should we do for dinner? I'm starving, I stood up. I'm not feeling great. Think I'm going to skip dinner and go to bed early. Oh no, are you getting sick? Do you need anything? No, just tired. Long day. I went upstairs, closed the bedroom door, sat on the edge of the bed with my head in my hands. My wife was having an affair. With David. For at least 6 months, probably longer. Every work emergency, every late night, every weekend crisis, lies. All of it lies. While I'd been the trusting, supportive husband, proud of her career success, she'd been sleeping with her colleague. I should have confronted her immediately. Should have told her what I saw. Should have demanded answers. But something stopped me. Some instinct that told me I needed more than what I'd witnessed. I needed documentation, evidence, proof. Because confronting her now would just result in denials and gaslighting. She'd say I misunderstood what I saw. That David was just a friend. That the kiss was a momentary mistake. That nothing else had happened. And without proof, it would become my word against hers. My paranoia against her innocent explanation. No. If I was going to do this, I was going to do it right. Gather evidence, document everything, build an airtight case, and then blow up her affair in the most devastating way possible. Lauren thought she was smart, thought she'd hidden this perfectly, thought I was the clueless husband who'd never suspect. She was about to learn just how wrong she was. Sunday morning, I woke up next to Lauren and felt nothing. No affection, no anger, just cold clarity. She was still asleep, peaceful, probably dreaming about David while lying in our bed. I got up quietly, went downstairs, made coffee, and started researching private investigators. I needed documentation. Photos, videos, timeline, evidence that would be irrefutable in divorce court. Washington is a no-fault divorce state, so infidelity wouldn't directly impact the legal outcome. But I wanted the truth documented. Wanted proof that couldn't be denied or explained away. By 9 a.m., I'd identified 3 highly rated PIs in Seattle. By 10 a.m., I'd emailed all 3 with a brief description of what I needed. By noon, I had responses from 2. The one I chose was Marcus Chen, former police detective, 15 years of private investigation experience, specialization in infidelity cases. His email was professional but empathetic. "I'm sorry you're going through this. I've handled hundreds of cases like yours. I can help you get the documentation you need." Monday morning, while Lauren was at work, I met Marcus at a coffee shop. He was mid-50s, calm, experienced. "Listen to my story without judgment. You saw them kiss on Saturday. How long do you think this has been going on?" "At least 6 months based on behavior changes. Maybe longer." "And you said David is also a colleague at her agency?" "Same company. Both marketing directors." Marcus nodded. "That's actually helpful. Workplace affairs tend to follow patterns. Regular meetings, predictable schedules. Makes surveillance easier." "What do you need from me?" "Her work schedule, any information you have about David, last name, address if you know it, vehicle description, access to phone records if possible, and patience. Good documentation takes time." I gave Marcus everything I had. Lauren's schedule, David's last name, Warren, I'd found it on her agency's website, the Capitol Hill apartment address, description of David's car, I'd noted it Saturday when he walked Lauren to her vehicle. "How long will this take?" "Give me 3 weeks. I'll conduct surveillance, document meetings, follow both of them, get photos and video. By the end, you'll have everything you need." "How much?" $5,000 retainer, $150 for surveillance. Infidelity cases usually run $8,000, $12,000 total depending on how active they are. I didn't hesitate. "Do it." That same day I consulted with a divorce attorney. Patricia Morrison, top-rated family law attorney, known for aggressive representation of her clients. "Washington is no fault," she explained. "Infidelity won't change property division or alimony calculations, but documentation is still valuable, shows credibility, prevents gaslighting, gives you leverage in negotiations. What should I expect? You've been married 7 years. Assets will be divided equitably, likely 50-50, since you both work and have similar incomes. No kids, so no custody issues. Should be relatively straightforward if she doesn't contest. And if she does contest, then we fight. But with documented infidelity, her credibility is damaged. Makes it harder for her to claim she deserves more, or that you were an absent spouse or whatever narrative she might try to spin." I paid Patricia's $10,000 retainer. Between the PI and the attorney, I was $15,000 into ending my marriage. Worth every penny to do this right. For the next 3 weeks, I played the role of oblivious husband. Came home from work, made dinner, asked Lauren about her day, listened to her lies about client meetings and campaign deadlines, watched her text David while sitting next to me on the couch. It was surreal. Knowing what I knew, seeing what I saw, but pretending everything was normal. Lauren had no idea I was building a case against her. No idea that every work emergency she used as an excuse was being documented by a private investigator. Marcus sent me updates every few days. Photos time-stamped and location-tagged. Videos. Detailed logs. Day 3. Lauren arrived at David's apartment at 6:45 p.m., emerged at 10:20 p.m., 4 hours. Photos showed them kissing in his doorway before she left. Day 5. Lauren and David had lunch at an Italian restaurant downtown. Sat on the same side of a booth. Marcus got photos of them holding hands across the table, Lauren leaning her head on David's shoulder. Day 8. Lauren told me she had a client dinner that would run late. Marcus followed her to a hotel downtown, the same one I'd seen charged to our credit card weeks earlier. David arrived 20 minutes later. They checked in together. Marcus got photos of them entering the lobby, David's hand on Lauren's lower back. They emerged the next morning at 7:15 a.m. Day 12. Marcus provided an interesting piece of information. David Warren was married. Wife's name, Michelle Warren. 2 children, ages 3 and 6. Michelle was a stay-at-home mom. They lived in a house in Ballard, the apartment. In Capitol Hill was David's work pied-à-terre that he claimed he needed for late nights at the office, so David was lying to his wife the same way Lauren was lying to me. Michelle probably thought her husband was dedicated to his career, working late, staying in the city overnight when projects demanded it. She had no idea he was using that apartment to cheat on her with my wife. Day 15. Lauren told me she had to travel to Portland for a client meeting. Marcus confirmed David had also taken the same days off. They drove together to a resort in the Columbia River Gorge, checked in as Mr. and Mrs. Warren, spent 2 nights together. Marcus got photos of them hiking, dining, kissing by the waterfall. I looked at those photos. My wife playing house with another man, pretending to be his wife, enjoying a romantic getaway while I was home alone, believing she was on a work trip, and felt my resolve harden. Whatever sympathy I might have had for her vanished. This wasn't a mistake or a momentary lapse. This was a full-blown relationship, an affair that had been going on for months, maybe longer. Day 18. Marcus sent me a video that sealed everything. Lauren and David at his apartment, visible through the window. Marcus had rented a unit across the street with a clear sightline. They were cooking dinner together, laughing, dancing in the kitchen, then kissing. Then David picked Lauren up and carried her toward the bedroom. The domesticity of it was somehow worse than the passion. They looked like a couple, comfortable, intimate, building a life together even if that life was hidden from their actual spouses. Day 21. Marcus sent his final report. 52 pages. Detailed timeline of the affair. 27 documented meetups over 3 weeks. Almost daily contact. Hundreds of photos. Hours of video. Phone records showing 847 text messages between them over 3 weeks. Hotel receipts. Restaurant receipts. Everything needed to prove an ongoing, extensive affair. This is one of the most well-documented cases I've handled, Marcus wrote in his summary. They're not being careful. They act like a couple in public places. Either they think they won't get caught or they don't care. Your wife has been spending 15-20 hours per week with David Warren over the surveillance period. I paid Marcus his remaining balance, $11,500 total. Met with Patricia to review everything. This is excellent documentation, she said. I can use this to push for a favorable settlement. And Daniel, I noticed David Warren is married. Does his wife know? No idea. You might consider telling her. She deserves to know what her husband is doing. And having her as a witness could be helpful if Lauren tries to claim the affair was somehow your fault. Patricia gave me Michelle Warren's contact information. Marcus had included it in his research. Address in Ballard. Email address from her online boutique business. Phone number. I stared at that information for 2 days before deciding what to do. Michelle was an innocent party like me. She deserved to know. But telling her would blow up her life, her marriage, her family, children's stability. Then I thought about those photos of Lauren and David playing house. Thought about them checked into a hotel as Mr. and Mrs. Warren. Thought about David lying to Michelle the same way Lauren had lied to me. Michelle deserved to know. I called her on a Wednesday afternoon. Michelle Warren? Yes, this is Michelle. Who's calling? My name is Daniel Matthews. You don't know me, but I have information about your husband David that you need to hear. Silence. Then, what kind of information? Is there a time we could meet in person? This isn't a conversation for the phone. Tell me now. Your husband is having an affair with my wife, Lauren Matthews. They work together. It's been going on for at least 6 months. I have extensive documentation, photos, videos, hotel records. I'm filing for divorce. I thought you should know. I heard her sharp intake of breath. Then, you're lying. David wouldn't. I have photos of them together. I have hotel records. I have videos of them at his apartment in Capitol Hill. The apartment he told you was for work emergencies? He's been using it to cheat on you with my wife. Send me the proof. I emailed her a selection of Marcus's photos. Nothing too explicit, but enough to be clear. David and Lauren holding hands at a restaurant, kissing outside his apartment, checking into the hotel together, hiking at the resort with their arms around each other. 20 minutes later my phone rang. Michelle, crying. How long have you known? 3 weeks since I saw them together. But I've suspected for months because of behavior changes. I hired a PI to document everything before confronting them. Why are you telling me? Because you deserve to know. And because I hesitated. David has a birthday party for you coming up, right? Lauren mentioned it. Said it's at your house with work colleagues and friends? Yes, this Saturday. My 35th birthday. David's been planning it for weeks. Why? I want to confront them publicly, together, at the party, in front of everyone who knows both of them. Expose what they've done. Serve divorce papers simultaneously. Make sure they face consequences beyond just losing their spouses. You want to ruin my birthday party? I want to expose 2 people who've been lying to us for months. Who've been using your house, your party, your celebration as another cover for their affair. Lauren thinks she's attending a work function. She has no idea I know anything. If we coordinate, we can confront them together in front of everyone they work with. All your friends, all the people who they've been lying to. Michelle was quiet for a long moment. Then, what exactly are you proposing? We spent the next hour planning. Michelle would keep the party on as scheduled. Wouldn't confront David beforehand. I'd show up uninvited. Lauren thought I wasn't coming. Thought it wasn't a +1 event. We'd coordinate the confrontation to happen mid-party when everyone was present. Michelle would have divorce papers ready to serve David. I'd have papers ready for Lauren. We'd expose them together. They've been playing house with each other while lying to us, Michelle said bitterly. Let them face the consequences together. Saturday arrived. The day of Michelle's 35th birthday party. The day everything would explode. Lauren had left the house at 6 p.m. I'll probably be gone a couple hours, she'd said. Just making an appearance since so many people from the agency will be there. I waited 30 minutes, then drove to Michelle's house in Ballard. Large, beautiful home, much nicer than our place. Evidence of children everywhere. Toys in the yard, bikes on the porch. Evidence of the family David was destroying with his affair. I parked down the street. Texted Michelle, I'm here. Ready when you are. Give me 20 minutes to get everyone together. I'll text you when to come in. I sat in my car, hands shaking, heart pounding. This was it. 3 weeks of investigation, documentation, planning. About to blow up Lauren's affair, David's marriage, their careers, their reputations. All at once. All publicly. My phone buzzed. Michelle. Now. Front doors unlocked. I walked up to the house. Could hear party sounds, music, laughter, conversation. Opened the door, stepped inside. The living room was full of people. 30, maybe 40 guests. Colleagues from the marketing agency, neighbors, friends, kids running around. A banner saying, "Happy 35th birthday, Michelle," across one wall. And there, standing by the kitchen talking to another couple, were Lauren and standing close, but not too close, playing the role of professional colleagues attending their co-worker's wife's birthday party. Lauren saw me first. Her face went white. Michelle stepped into the center of the room. "Everyone, can I have your attention, please?" She clinked her glass. Conversation died down. Everyone turned to look at her. "Thank you all for coming to celebrate my birthday. It means so much to have friends and family here. But before we continue, there's something everyone needs to know." She looked directly at Dave. "My husband has been having an affair for at least 6 months with his colleague, Lauren Matthews." Gasps. Shocked silence. Everyone's eyes moving between David and Lauren. Lauren's face was frozen in horror. David's mouth opened, but no words came out. I stepped forward. "I'm Daniel Matthews, Lauren's husband. For the past 3 weeks, I've had a private investigator documenting my wife's affair with David Warren. I have photos, videos, hotel records, restaurant receipts, and phone logs proving they've been sleeping together for months while lying to both of us." Michelle continued. "David told me his apartment in Capitol Hill was for late work nights. He's actually been using it to sleep with Lauren. The business trips he took, romantic getaways with her. The late nights at the office, hours at her place or his apartment." I pulled out an envelope. "Lauren, these are divorce papers. Our marriage is over. You've been served." Handed them to her. She took them automatically, still in shock. Michelle pulled out her own envelope. "David, these are divorce papers. I'm taking the house and full custody of our children. You've destroyed our family. You're served." The room erupted. Shocked murmurs. Some people pulling out phones. Lauren's colleagues staring at her with disgust. Someone muttered, "They work together? That's a violation of company policy." Lauren found her voice. "Daniel, please, can we talk about this privately?" "No. You wanted to have a public affair. Meeting David at restaurants, checking into hotels under his name, playing house at his apartment. You get a public exposure. Everyone here should know exactly who you are. Who you both are." David tried to salvage something. "Michelle, this is insane. We can talk about this at home. We're not going home together. You're not living in our house anymore. I've already changed the locks. Your belongings are being packed as we speak. My lawyer will contact you tomorrow with the custody and asset division proposal." One of their colleagues from the agency, a man in his 40s, apparently in management, stepped forward. "David, Lauren, this is true? You've been having an affair? With each other? While both married?" Neither could speak. Their silence was confirmation enough. The manager continued. "As of this moment, you're both suspended pending an HR investigation. Relationships between colleagues at the same level violate company policy. You'll be hearing from corporate Monday morning." Another guest, one of Michelle's friends, grabbed her kids. "Come on, we're leaving. Michelle, call me tomorrow." Others followed, uncomfortable, disturbed, wanting to escape the scene. Within 10 minutes, half the party had cleared out. Those who remained were either close friends supporting Michelle or colleagues too stunned to move. Lauren tried approaching me. "Daniel, please let me explain." "Explain what? Explain the 6 months of lies? The fake work emergencies? The hotel stays? The romantic trip to the gorge where you checked in as Mrs. Warren? The hundreds of hours you spent with David while I believed you were working? What exactly do you want to explain?" "I made a mistake. A mistake is a one-time bad decision. This was a calculated, ongoing affair. You chose David over me every single day for months. You lied to my face repeatedly. You put our marriage second to your affair. That's not a mistake. That's a choice." David was trying to talk to Michelle, who had her friends flanking her protectively. "Michelle, please, the kids. Don't you dare talk about our kids. You didn't think about them when you were checking into hotels with another woman. You didn't think about them when you were spending our money on your affair partner. You destroyed their family. That's on you." The agency manager, his name was Robert, I learned later, was on his phone, calling someone from corporate, from what I could hear. "Yes, confirmed affair between 2 director-level employees. Violation of conflict of interest policy. Major HR issue. Yes, both suspended effective immediately." He hung up, looked at David and Lauren. "Corporate is launching a formal investigation Monday. You're both required to cooperate fully. Depending on findings, termination is likely. You're to have no contact with each other outside of formal HR proceedings." Lauren's face crumpled. The reality was setting in, not just losing me, but losing her job. The career she'd sacrificed our marriage for was now also destroyed by her affair with David. I turned to leave. Had said what I needed to say, served the papers, exposed the truth. Staying longer served no purpose. "Daniel, wait." Lauren followed me to the door. "Please, can we please just talk? I know I messed up, but we can work through this." "No, we can't. Talk to your lawyer. That's the only communication we're having going forward." "But I love you." I stopped, turned, looked at her directly. "You don't love me. You haven't loved me for a long time. Maybe you never did, because people who love each other don't do what you did. They don't lie for months. They don't build entire secret relationships while playing devoted spouse at home. You love what I represented. Stability, security, the life we built. But me, the actual person? You clearly didn't love me enough to stay faithful. I left, drove home, and felt nothing but relief. The next week was chaos. Lauren tried calling, texting, showing up at the house. I had changed the locks the day before the party. Marcus had helped me coordinate that. She couldn't get in. Eventually went to stay with a friend. Patricia handled all legal communications. Lauren wanted to contest the divorce, wanted counseling, wanted another chance. Patricia shut it down. My client has moved forward. Divorce is proceeding. We expect equitable asset division and no spousal support, given that you both work and have similar incomes. The agency fired both Lauren and David after the HR investigation. Affair between colleagues. Misuse of company resources. They'd used company credit cards for some affair-related expenses. Conflict of interest. Violation of professional conduct policies. Both terminated within 2 weeks. Lauren's professional reputation was destroyed. The affair was gossip throughout Seattle's marketing industry. Hard to get hired when potential employers Google your name and find stories about your affair with a married colleague that cost both of you your jobs. David and Michelle's divorce was messier than ours. Kids involved. Custody battles, child support calculations. But Michelle got primary custody in the house. David got supervised visitation and massive support payments. Lauren and David tried to make their affair into a real relationship. Moved in together about a month after everything imploded. Tried to prove it was real love and not just an affair. Lasted 11 months before breaking up. Turns out relationships built on lies and betrayal don't have solid foundations. David resented Lauren for costing him his marriage and kids. Lauren resented David for costing her marriage and career. They blamed each other for the consequences of choices they'd both made. The affair passion couldn't survive reality. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I ran into Michelle at a coffee shop. We'd stayed in touch occasionally, fellow survivors of our spouse's affair. "How are you doing?" I asked. "Better. Therapy helps. The kids are adjusting. David sees them every other weekend, and it's awkward but manageable. You? Good. Really good, actually. I'm dating someone new. Her name's Claire. She's a teacher. Normal, honest, kind. Everything Lauren wasn't. I'm glad. You deserve someone who values you. So do you. Are you dating? Not yet. Focusing on the kids and rebuilding. But eventually, when I'm ready to trust someone again." 2 years after the affair explosion, Lauren reached out. An email, since I'd blocked her everywhere else. "Daniel, I know I have no right to contact you. I know you've moved on. But I need you to know how sorry I am for everything I did. You were a good husband. You deserved better than what I gave you. The affair with David wasn't about you. It was about me being selfish and stupid, and thinking I could have everything without consequences. I was wrong. I destroyed our marriage, my career, my reputation, and eventually my relationship with David too. I'm working as a marketing coordinator now, entry-level position, half what I used to make. Living in a small apartment, trying to rebuild my life and my professional reputation. It's hard. Everything I lost because of my choices. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I see now what I threw away. You were stable and reliable and loyal. All the things I called boring. Turns out those are exactly the qualities that matter. David was exciting and new, but he was also married and lying to his wife the same way I lied to you. We both thought the affair was passionate and real, but it was built on deception. It couldn't survive truth. I hope you're happy. I hope you found someone who deserves you and treats you right. You were too good for me." Lauren, I read it once. Deleted it. Didn't respond. 3 years after the divorce, I married Claire. Simple ceremony, 40 guests, focused on what mattered. Commitment, honesty, partnership. Everything my marriage to Lauren hadn't been. Claire knew my history. Knew about Lauren's affair, the public confrontation, the divorce. Never judged me for it. "People who cheat are showing you who they are," she said. "You were smart enough to end it decisively." Michelle remarried too, about 4 years after her divorce. To a guy she'd known from college who'd reconnected with her on social media. He was divorced himself, had kids from his previous marriage. They blended their families carefully, thoughtfully. Built something real on a foundation of honesty. 5 years after that birthday party confrontation, I heard Lauren was still single. Still working mid-level marketing positions, never recovering the director-level career she'd had before the affair. Still dealing with the professional and personal consequences of choices she made. David remarried quickly, some woman he met online, but that marriage also ended in divorce after 3 years. He rarely saw his kids from his marriage to Michelle. Child support payments consumed his income. His career never recovered either. People sometimes ask if I regret the public confrontation. If exposing them so dramatically was too hard, the answer is no. Not even for a second. Lauren and David built their affair on deception. They lied to their spouses, to their colleagues, to everyone around them. They used Michelle's birthday party as another cover, Lauren pretending it was a work function while actually attending her affair partner's wife's party. The hypocrisy, the audacity of that deserved public exposure. Could I have confronted Lauren privately? Served divorce papers quietly? Sure, but that would have let her control the narrative. Let her tell friends and family that we just grew apart, or that I was controlling, or whatever story she spun to justify the divorce. Public exposure meant truth, meant everyone who knew them understood exactly what had happened and why, meant professional consequences from an affair that violated workplace policies, meant they couldn't lie their way out of what they'd done. Today, 7 years after discovering Lauren's affair, I'm 40, married to Claire for 4 years. We have a daughter together. I make good money as a senior data analyst. Claire teaches high school English. We have a partnership built on honesty, respect, and actual love. Lauren is 38, still single, still working mid-level marketing positions, still dealing with a professional reputation that never fully recovered from being fired for an affair that destroyed 2 marriages. Sometimes I think about that Saturday afternoon when I drove to her office to drop off a laptop, charger, and discovered the building was closed. That moment changed everything. If I'd just let her keep my charger, if I hadn't checked Find My iPhone, if I'd been willing to stay ignorant, I might still be married to her, still being lied to, still believing her work emergencies while she carried on her affair. But I'm grateful it happened the way it did. Grateful I discovered the truth. Grateful I had the resources to document it thoroughly. Grateful Michelle and I could coordinate to expose them publicly. Grateful for the clear, decisive end that left no room for gaslighting or manipulation. Lauren thought she was clever. Thought she'd balanced her marriage and her affair perfectly. Thought work emergencies were the perfect cover because I'd never question her dedication to her career. She was wrong. And that Saturday afternoon when I sat in a parking lot watching her kiss David, when I decided to document everything rather than confront immediately, when I chose strategy over emotion, that was the moment I took control of a situation where I'd been kept in the dark for months. 7 years later, that decision still feels right. Some people deserve public exposure. Some lies deserve public truth. Some affairs deserve to be revealed not in private confrontation, but in front of everyone who the cheaters lied to. Lauren wanted to have it all. Husband at home, affair partner downtown, successful career, respect from colleagues. She got none of it, because you can't build a life on lies. Eventually, someone finds your wife's car in the wrong parking lot. Eventually, truth catches up, and when it does, the fallout is proportional to the deception. 6 months of lies, hundreds of hours of affair time, elaborate cover stories, all exposed in one night at a birthday party that should have been a celebration, but became a reckoning. That's what happens when you use work emergencies to cover your affair. Eventually, someone checks to see if you're actually at work. And when you're not, when you're at your affair partner's apartment instead, everything falls apart. Lauren learned that lesson the hard way. So did David. So did everyone who witnessed that confrontation at Michelle's birthday party. Actions have consequences. Lies get exposed. And sometimes, the boring, reliable, stable husband you took for granted turns out to be the one who documents everything, plans his moves strategically, and ensures you face full accountability for what you've done.